What up, Pittsburgh Steelers fans? Matty P here. Another episode of Steelers Warm. With the first episode in our Steelers Moneyball series, we are talking are the Steelers getting what they pay for when it comes to the offense. Now, there's been a lot of talk about the offense throughout this season. The offense is abysmal. We saw that in 2 nights ago. Now, depending on when you listen to this, one night ago against Indianapolis Colts, 30-13 loss. They don't score points. They're averaging 14.2 without Matt Canada. They were averaging barely 16.2 with him. It's an abomination with what they've got in terms of how they've been schemed and how they've played. You think about all the top draft picks invested into the offense, whether it's Pat Fryman, Najee Harris, Kenny Pickett, George Pickens, Deontay Johnson, even there as a third rounder. There, he's on a second contract, so he's not rookie there. But you got guys like Darnell Washington in the mix as well. The Steelers have invested a lot there. Now, the offensive line is a big issue as well. All those things we'll do in part of this series. We'll go position by position group. But we're going to kick off with the offense as a whole. There's no one better in the business that I trust than Over the Cap. Sometimes they're not as fast as Spotrac in terms of getting out, Spotrac in terms of getting out the contracts when there's free agents. But that is because they wait to have all the specifics. So that's who we're going to use today. Now, let's just kick straight into it. When you look at offensive spending, the Lions have the most expensive offense in the league right now at $121 million. A lot of that's tied to Jared Goff's contract. The Steelers are sitting there at 24th, spending $26.7 million. Now, the thing to note about this is that the 22nd most expensive offense in the league in the Seahawks and the 28th most expensive team in the league, 27th most expensive in the Rams, there's about $3 million difference there. So there's a lot of people combined there, right? There's actually only like $12 million difference between the Vikings sitting in there at like 29th and all the way going up to the Bears that sit in there at like 20. So there's not a lot of variance when you get there. There's a much bigger variance when you go from like 20 to number one, obviously, with Detroit. But at 24th in the league, the Steelers do not rate 24th or better in the league in most statistical categories. They also, particularly points. So it's very hard as a unit for you to sit there and say, are they getting what they paid for? Look at the quarterback position. Where do you expect the Steelers to be with Mason Rudolph, Kenny Pickett on a rookie deal, second year? He's a first rounder, though. They're right on a rookie wage scale. It's not like it used to be. And Trubisky. They're spending $10 million. But when you look at that in the league, that's only like that's in the early 20s in the league with $10 million. There's a lot more teams spending a lot less than that. Now that you look at that, it is what it is. You do exactly what I said. They've got one of the most expensive backups. They've got a first rounder from the last 2 years, 20th overall. But $10 million and the performance that they get, fine. Maybe you say fine, barely there. You go down to the running back position. Steelers, not even they're in the bottom third of the league with $5 million. Now you're really talking Najee, undrafted Jalen Warren, McFarland, who's a fifth round draft pick sitting there, and then really there's a kick returner that they have. I always muddle his name up, so I'm not going to do it. But that's probably no surprise there. Depending on where Connor Hayward in terms of the designation when he was drafted, that might affect where he sits in this. But let's look at the tight end position then before we go to wide receiver. Tight end, again, the Steelers in the bottom 5 teams in the league, spending $4 million there. Makes sense. Three guys technically on their rookie deals in Washington, Hayward, and Pat Freeman. Right, pretty stock standard. Wide receiver. The Steelers are in the top 12 wide receiver spending, $23 million. Now, pretty much that's 2 guys. It's Deontay with his hit of about $11 million this year, and Allen Robinson. That's really where this $23 million part comes from. The rest, you've got Pickens, Austin there, Boykin. Those guys are making up like literally $3 million or $3.5 million of the $23 million there. But are the Steelers really getting top 10, top 12, top half of the league performance out of the wide receivers? No. But if you think that's bad, because there's no way these guys are top 12 like wide receiver unit. It's the O-line that really got me when I went into this. I knew they were top half of the league. But 9th most expensive O-line, right? Now remember, Broderick Jones is on a rookie deal. Remember, Dan Moore is a 4th rounder. And you traded a couple of guys away, so there's probably a little like dead cap money. We're talking a couple hundreds of thousands, maybe $1 million here or there. And so you've got the 9th most expensive O-line, 12th most expensive wide receiver core, your bottom baseman at tight end and running back, your bottom quarter of the league at quarterback for spending. And you get this result. Now, in fairness, some of you could be sitting out there and saying, well, that's on the coaches. Fair point. But again, are they getting that performance regardless, right? Up there. There's a lot of people say, I've had a lot of people say they've not been Mike Tomlin fans for a long time. So, you know, you got to put that position stuff aside. You got to put that coaching stuff aside at that point in time. People can outplay that. But there's probably another group of fans out there that would sit there and say, well, hang on, if the Steelers offense is that poor and there's almost a $50 million difference, $40 million difference between them and the Lions, surely we've got to spend more money. Because, like, look at some of the teams at the top of this. Lions, by the end of the weekend, could have a 10, but by the time this even goes to air after I've recorded it on my Sunday night, Lions could be, have 10 wins on the season. Ravens, Chiefs, Broncos are fighting back in the AFC. Bengals, there's a lot of Burrow there, so that's why that's tied up. Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, they had a great firing offense. Cowboys, they got a firing offense. Raiders part of that's just Garoppolo and Devontae Adams, so you got to put that out. Look at the back end of the 49ers, though, the offense. Eagles offense, Buccaneers offense. The offense has been a little bit all over the place. The Dolphins spend $94 million on offense. Bills spend $99 million. Do the Steelers need to go out and spend $15 million more on offense? Probably on that top tackle. But the good news is you can save with no Cole and no Okorafor. You can save the best part of about $13.5 million. I think they need to do that. That brings this O-line number back down to like about 33 million, 35 million. But as we sit there and we go through it, there are certain position groups that explain the production. You can only spend $10 million on quarterback. Now, yes, you're going to have a rookie quarterback in there. That's meant to be the benefit of the rookie quarterback. Running back room, super cheap because you've got an undrafted, free agent rookie or second-year player in Warren. You've got Najee in there on his this is his 3rd season, and then you've got a guy like Fallon Jr. I think they should use a third, depending on where things fall in the draft, 3rd rounder on a decent running back, or trade a 3rd rounder next year to get back in if they can. Wide receiver, no. Allen Robinson and Deontay Johnson are not cutting it for the $20 million there. So I just wanted to talk about this as part of the first part of our Moneyball series, because we're going to go, as I said, we're going to talk about positions. We're going to talk about the defense, of course, as well. The Steelers have the most expensive defense in the league, and I'll preempt that show to the Steelers. The Steelers, we've seen that they're depth challenged and injuries, and that's a lot of the reason why this defense hasn't performed. But again, do we really feel they're getting out of the defense? We'll talk about that position by position group, of course. But I wanted to bring this first show to you as sort of a teaser into the Moneyball series. I think a lot of fans would be quite pained to know the Steelers have the 12th most expensive wide receiver room with what they produce, the 9th most expensive offensive line with what they produce. No, not good enough. But that, and the other part of the point of bringing this series to you is to basically look at it. I could have waited till the offseason. The reason why I haven't is I wanted you to be able to assess what the Steelers are doing through the last 3 or 4 weeks now of the season, because they need to be assessing who's good enough to stay, who wants to stay, who wants to be there, who wants to try, who doesn't want to give up. That's what it looked like against the Colts. That's what it has looked like in several parts of this season, that the Steelers have given up. Truly, though, this game against the Colts, we can't have that anymore. We should have never had it in the first place. So hope you enjoyed that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Were you surprised by those position groups? Let me know if you sort of thought, that we were a lot cheaper than that. We're really not. I kind of had in my head that we were the 4th cheapest offense in the league. Does not appear to be the case. Is not the case. when you look at the numbers. So yeah, we'll see. Hope you like the show. If you did, hit that like button. If you're watching a lot of our shows and you're not a sub yet, hit that sub button. We are on a mission of 500 as fast as we can. Then we can start doing more things that YouTube allows us to do once we get to 500. But as always, go Steelers.